news that works for you. This is the Delta News Morning.
Happy Wednesday. Thanks for joining us today. Let's jump into your top stories of the morning. Her father was killed and she's still looking for answers. Jacana Bowman has hosted food drives, clothing drives, and protests, all in the hopes of bringing attention to a tragic incident she says she refuses to let die. The Delta News' Andronita Williams has the latest.
Shot him, burned the house up, stole his car, and basically got away.
It's been almost a year since Jacana Bowman's father was killed inside of his own home. 10 months later, all she wants is answers.
I will not rest until I find out the circumstances of what happened to my dad.
To keep her father's name alive, she staged protests, clothes and food drives, and most recently, she's decided to open a restaurant and banquet hall, which she's named in his honor.
He used to sign my birthday cards CB, and I said if I got another business, I would name it CB in his honor.
The month of March will mark the 1-year anniversary of his death, and it is also the month he would have celebrated his birthday. Bowman hopes her efforts will bring closure and justice.
If the Lord says the same, this year will be their last year walking free.
Bowman says if you know something about her father's death, alert the police. Reporting in Greenville, Andronita Williams, the Delta News.
Bowman plans to open her restaurant completely by the end of the month. And an investigation is underway after a two-vehicle crash involving a senior driver happened at the corner of Washington and Theobald. Investigators were called to the scene around noon yesterday. The Delta News' Timmy Lane brings us that report from Greenville.
First responders remain on scene of a two-car collision downtown Greenville. As you can see, authorities remain on scene as they continue to get things cleaned up here.
Tuesday around noon is when officers of the Greenville Police Department were dispatched to Washington and Theobald Street in reference to a motor vehicle accident. Upon arrival, they observed a white Toyota Avalon and a white Pontiac Grand Prix that had been involved in the accident. After the point of impact, one utility pole and a flower pot were also struck. Emergency medical personnel responded, which both drivers were transported to the hospital with minor injuries. The driver of the Toyota was a 93-year-old black male, and the driver of the Pontiac was a 23-year-old black female. Preliminary investigation shows that the Toyota was westbound on Washington Avenue and the Pontiac was northbound on Theobald Street. The driver of the Pontiac was cited for no insurance and no driver license. The incident is being investigated by officers of the Traffic Division.
At this time, this crash remains under investigation. However, if you have any information leading to this incident, you're asked to contact the Greenville Police Department. Timmy Lane, Delta News.
And continuing your local headlines today, the Greenwood High School parking lot could serve as an alternative vaccine site. The Greenwood-LaFleur Consolidated School Board has voted to allow the Mississippi Emergency Management Agency and LaFleur County Health Department to use the GHS parking lot as a future location for COVID vaccinations. On Friday, January 15th, the board voted unanimously to approve a request from MEMA that would make that lot available. The district superintendent, Dr. Barry Brown, says there's no date yet when those lots might be used. And continuing your Delta coverage, in-person classes are off to a good start at LaFleur Legacy Academy, LaFleur Legacy Academy, I should say, the newest school in Greenwood, returned to a version of in-person classes this week. This is the first time students were able to go to class inside the building after COVID-19 forced the academy to start in socially distanced formats. The school's founder and executive director, Dr. Tamala Boyd Shaw, tells us that the feedback she's been receiving from parents has been great since the restart of classes.
To make sure we stick to the script so that we can have some consistency. So what we're getting from parents is that they are totally fine with it, they're happy about it, and they feel that things are being done safely.
Now, various safety procedures are in place like sneeze guards, face masks, and sanitizing stations, along with social distancing. Since the restart of school, there have been no positive COVID cases. And in other news, one of Greenville's own daughters has left politics and has a new and exciting position. The Delta News' Karen Williams introduces us to Kyla Washington.
She was Mayor Eric Simmons' right-hand woman for the last 3 years, and now she's serving the community in a new way. as a community engagement officer. We talked to Kyla Washington about her new exciting opportunity.
It is a change, Miss Karen, but what I can say is while I really enjoyed my time working with Mayor Simmons in the city of Greenville, I made the decision to leave the city because it was just a new opportunity to allow me to grow and develop even more than I already had. This opportunity is really exciting for me also because it will give me the opportunity to make positive impacts in the community that I was born and raised in. My title is the Community Engagement Officer for Mars Food, and this position is part of a larger investment in Greenville to help develop the Mars Food purpose of creating better food today for a better world tomorrow. And I will be creating and bringing to life that plan to help improve education and access to fresh, healthy food while also building important relationships with members of our community. Right now, we are very focused on Greenville specifically and trying to make long-lasting impacts within this community currently. And so that's our main focus right now.
Washington says that her deep roots in Greenville and the region will allow her to create programs for the immediate area. In Greenville, Karen Williams reporting.
Turning now to some national headlines, President-elect Joe Biden is planning for a busy day today beyond just taking the oath of office. His administration is laying out a list of executive actions that could come quickly. Blair Miller is here to explain what we could see and how the outgoing administration is spending these final hours.
We'll see from the incoming administration, they're designed to undo much of what President Trump has already done. When Joe Biden makes his way to the steps of the U.S. Capitol, taking the oath could be a sideshow of what's to come tomorrow afternoon and into the evening. The Biden administration already saying to expect about a dozen executive orders he'll sign on day one. They include having the U.S. rejoin the Paris Climate Accord, rescinding the travel ban on predominantly Muslim countries, and mandating masks on federal property.
This is not a political issue. This is about saving lives. I know it's become a partisan issue, but what a stupid, stupid thing for it to happen. This is a patriotic act.
Biden also plans to unveil a sweeping immigration bill tomorrow designed to provide an 8-year path to citizenship for an estimated 11 million people living in the U.S. without legal status. It's a major reversal from President Trump's immigration policies and setting up a busy Congress.
I can tell you there's a strong desire on both sides to get things done, to act like senators.
At the White House today, preparations for President Trump to leave Washington with an early morning send-off at Andrews Air Force Base. Details haven't been released, but aides have said the president wants a big send-off tomorrow, possibly with a flyover and red carpet. But in a city where all eyes are watching who's coming and going, the transition of power will happen with Trump taking off and Biden taking over.
And now, with just hours to go, members of every single National Guard are assisting law enforcement in Washington, D.C. ahead of the inauguration today. The U.S. Capitol now resembling a fortress surrounded by thousands of armed guards. The Secret Service requested the ramped-up help after that attack on the Capitol earlier this month. Reports say that at least 12 National Guardsmen were removed from the inauguration security after the FBI discovered they had ties to far-right fringe groups. The head of the D.C. National Guard says troops go through a very thorough process of vetting before every inauguration.
We're not taking any chances. We're not accepting any risk. We are screening our guardsmen, as we always do in every inauguration. They're vetted by the Department of Defense and the FBI.
Back to their home states on Thursday, but not everyone will leave all at once, with officials staggering out that process. All right, coming up after the break, Clay will have your full weather forecast, but for now, let's get a quick check-in. Good morning, Clay.